When the last student received the diploma in the August commencement on Friday evening, and when the last student had rung the bell Friday evening after commencement, you know, there was a real sense of loss for me and an acknowledgement that this was the end. But I tried not to cry at that moment because I didn't want to mar the joy of the students and their families and friends who were gathered that were really happy. And yet I think all of us acknowledged, including the student speaker, that this was a 100-year plus tradition that was coming to an end. So it was just a very bittersweet moment. There's really no playbook for closing a university, and we're finding that, and we've been asked a lot to talk about our experiences.
I would just say thank you. I would just express gratitude for the time the time and the space that I had to grow, the people that I had met, and the memories that I have made here.
Is there anything that you regret?
No. I think that I don't have regrets because I believe it was bigger than me, you know? Like, there's a bazillion colleges you could choose. I could have gone a lot of places, and it would have changed a lot of things, and maybe not some things, but I can't imagine it different than this.
I think we've always considered that Fontbonne is a place, and it has been for over 100 years here in Clayton on this beautiful campus. I think we also know that Fontbonne is a person, Mother St. John Fontbonne, who should have died by the guillotine, but was saved and restarted the sisters and sent 6 sisters here to begin a ministry that has lasted and proliferated across the United States for almost 200 years. But I think Fontbonne is a spirit too, and that goes to the legacy. You know, I think the message I'd like to say to every student is twofold. It's really the same message, but one, you have inherent value. You don't have to do anything or be anything to have value because you are you. And please remember that other people you engage with, even people that try your patience or make you angry or don't necessarily even treat you well, also have inherent value. I think the world is just crying out for an understanding where people can try to be a little more gentle with each other, a little bit more respectful, and value each other as important. And I really want students, you know, regardless of their major, of course they're going to get a great education, they're going to study, they're going to learn to do whatever their career will take them to. But to be that better person, to be good people, I think that's really what we need. It's our Fontbonne mission.
There's all these like fun, nostalgic stories, and I worry that those are going to get lost. For our current cohort of students who have had to weather this institutional shift and upheaval and ultimately closure, when it was their program, it was their only grad program, it's been their only time at Fontbonne. They don't have decades of memories like I have, or other faculty or older alum. So this is the only Fontbonne they've known, and I'm really excited to celebrate their commencement because it will be nothing but joyful for them. Like, they will mark their accomplishments and they will begin their next phase of professional impact. It's gonna be huge and maybe a blowout, maybe like the biggest party we've ever had, and also, I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of tears, but
I am Nancy Blotner, the president of Fontbonne University. It is with deep sadness and great regret that I am announcing Fontbonne will not admit a freshman class in fall 2024. After many years of declining enrollments and a shrinking endowment, the financial position of the university is no longer able to be sustained for the long term. As a result, the university's Board of Trustees voted to cease operations effective summer 2025. The next 2 summers, undergraduate students can take all of their courses basically for free because we're going to scholarship them for tuition, and I think that's helpful. They'll have individualized plans so that if they want to graduate from here and can, they will sit down with their advisors or with their faculty members and they will plot out semester by semester courses. The latest projection I read recently was that by 2030, 90 more schools are going to close, 90. And that's a lot. But I think what it means is that there is a supply of colleges and universities that outstrips the demand by the students. So the demographic of 18-year-olds, particularly in the Midwest and in the Middle Atlantic and Northeast, has really radically declined. So I think that we come from a time where the public is very skeptical about higher education, and I think the value of higher education is being questioned, and I don't understand that, really.
I have a quote framed in my office for a really long time. I can't even remember when or why I got it. But it's a tree, and it says, "We all live in the shade of a tree that someone else planted." And it has felt so critical this year, right? Like, as people are kindly giving like laudation and feedback and like, "Oh, we're so grateful for the program." And it's like, "Oh, well, I'm glad I get to be a part of it, but it was well before me. It was the sisters first, and then it was Sister James Lorene who started the Deaf Ed program, and then it was Susan Lenahan who made the Deaf Ed program what it is, and I got to ride her coattails, and I got to carry on." And so I'm disappointed that sort of on my watch, like this has to be the end of this. I have had moments of anger. I've had moments of frustration, like thinking if only people knew what was so great here, people would have invested in it differently. Like, sort of like, why were we our own worst enemy? Like, why couldn't we find the right funder or philanthropist? Or why couldn't we tell our story in a way that compelled other people to want to be a part of it? Or why were we slow to pivot to the next greatest opportunity? Like, but none of that is helpful at this point. And so I think when you've operated sort of in a challenging environment for so long, you like don't see it anymore. You don't see how bad it was, because we were still doing great things here. And so, but maybe there's a reason. There has to be a reason why this has to be. And we're too foolish to know it at this point. I do not envy one single bit leadership, administration who had to hold this knowledge far longer than the rest of us knew. I can't fathom how you would keep a face because you want to keep everyone moving in the same direction and then knowing the real challenges behind. And I can't even imagine how painful it was to hear misinformed stories, but also people will make the narrative that suits them.
be among your company as a recipient of the Founders Award this year. Today, my husband Tim is here with me. Our son Brandon and his beloved Megan are joining us via live stream in Georgia, where we'll retire sometime in 2026. And I'm joined by members of my current and former leadership team, Danielle and Megan, Adam and Katie, Anne, Maria, and Janelle. I am so blessed to have such tremendous support, both from the members of my family and from those whom I've been privileged to work every day for almost 5 years here since I've returned. Most of you know, perhaps, that my introduction to Catholic higher education occurred when I first came to Fontbonne in July 2004 as the Vice President for Academic Affairs and the Dean of the Faculty. Although a lifelong Catholic and the product of 12 years of Catholic elementary and secondary education, I was taught by the School Sisters of Notre Dame. I had never studied or worked at a Catholic institution of higher education. But it took only a few weeks here on campus for me to realize that I found what was missing in my professional life. When students returned to campus for the fall semester a few weeks after my arrival all those years ago, I witnessed the Catch the Fire ceremony for the first time, the annual ritual that introduces students to the history, the heritage, and the legacy of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet. And I remember calling my husband Tim that evening, and I told him that I had come home, that I was in Catholic higher education for the rest of my career, that my professional goals and my personal faith life had finally married, if you will. During my first tenure at Fontbonne, I was so blessed to work with the CSJs, especially Sister Barbara Dreyer and Sister Fran Maher, Sister Rita Marie Schmitz, and most of all, Sister Mary Carol Anth, who became not only a mentor, but a role model and a lifelong friend. Each of these women and their colleagues, through their love of God and the dear neighbor, demonstrated to me every day the lived mission of Fontbonne University. They inspired me to embrace the values of our university and to seek ways to demonstrate commitment to my faith and to the CSJ charism. In 2009, after 5 years, my time at Fontbonne came to a close. But what I had experienced and learned while at Fontbonne went with me to another Catholic university in New Jersey, where we initiated Caldwell Day, modeled on Fontbonne's annual day of service, when faculty, staff, and students went out in the community to provide various kinds of service to others. And at Caldwell, we also continued the service trips to Belize that had begun when I was here at Fontbonne before, building libraries and churches in jungle villages where school children did not have books, and where the faithful waited weeks for a priest to come and say Mass. I was blessed to be part of those trips with both institutions along with students, faculty, and staff. But living out the values of our founders continues to occur on the Fontbonne campus in some less obvious ways too. These day-to-day decisions were able to be made by the leadership team because we are a Catholic university founded by the Sisters of St. Joseph. These small but impactful decisions are some of the things that frankly I'm the most proud of at my time here as the president at Fontbonne. And now, as we've all heard today, that time is coming to an end, as the university has begun its final year of existence. While we are all very sad about the institution's closing next summer, I hope that, as we've heard several times today already, we'll remember that the legacy of this Catholic university, founded by the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet, lives on in the lives of all who have been part of the university community, our students, our alums, our faculty, and our staff are all part of the legacy of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet and of Fontbonne University, and that means that each one of you is part of that legacy. Last Friday, we celebrated the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, who is attributed with saying, "Preach the gospel, and when necessary, use words." I'd like to believe that those of us who have been privileged to be part of the Fontbonne University family will, through our life choices, demonstrate the lived values that we have learned here on the campus. And when we have the opportunity, we will, when necessary and is appropriate, speak lovingly of Fontbonne, of the CSJs, and of the community for which we are a part of here on this campus. I know that I look forward to those opportunities. Thank you for this wonderful honor, and God bless every one of you.
I think it will be really humbling to know that this is sort of the end of this version of the chapter. And I'm sure it will be sad. I remember very fondly my first campus visit. My parents were with me. I was in high school, and we met Dr. Susan Lenahan, who is the head of the deaf education program at the time, up in the DSAC above the gym. And from that moment, it just felt like a place where you would be with your people. Like, she was so welcoming and so kind and instilled such a confidence in my parents and in me that this was like the right spot to be. So I moved into the dorm. I made some of my best friendships and relationships that I still see today. And then now coming back as faculty, I think a lot of it feels the same. It feels like the people is what Fontbonne is. The relationships are what stand out to me here.
Yeah.
I can smile about that because we continue to deliver a program with fidelity. We are closing with dignity. We, in my department, we admit graduate students in cohorts. So the students who are enrolled in their first year when the announcement was made are able to finish their degree fully accredited with the same rigor and quality that we have offered so many years. And then we actually had an opportunity to anticipate that there was some challenge, and so our final cohort of students came in eyes wide open. You know, we weren't fooling anyone saying, things had already been in the news, like if people had done their homework, like they knew that there was financial distress here. So we had some students who started in January of 24. And so they're like in their first semester when this announcement comes out. And they have been one of the strongest cohorts of our graduate students in a long time. They knew what they were signing up for. They knew that they had sort of one shot this year to get it done. And they're doing it, and they're gonna be such a legacy to like head out and spread the love.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
At 2:41 p.m., a funnel cloud touches down near South Hanley and Richmond Heights, and the tornado begins its trek. The storm starts small, but it's already tearing through trees. EF0 to EF1 damage, with winds ranging from 85 to 94 miles an hour. The tornado races northeast, quickly intensifying, widening at this point, moving at 55 miles an hour. Just 1 minute later, at 2:42 p.m., it strikes the northwest corner of Forest Park. Trees snap and fall around the Missouri History Museum, consistent with EF0 and EF1 intensity. Then the tornado crosses over the Forest Park Metrolink station and intensifies. Along Pershing Avenue, the National Weather Service confirms EF2 damage, winds peaking at 120 miles an hour. A little further east on Waterman Boulevard and Waterman Place, winds are clocked at 122 miles an hour. The tornado is now an EF3, and homes in its path don't stand a chance. By 2:43 p.m., the twister has grown to nearly a mile wide. Businesses near North Kings Highway Boulevard and Del Mar taking a direct hit. Wind speeds of up to a terrifying 142 miles an hour. In under 30 minutes, the tornado left a trail of destruction across 2 states, reaching EF3 intensity, leaving a path of destruction 23 miles long.
It was unbelievable to live through that tornado. The first thought I had was, thank God no one was hurt. And it was a Friday afternoon, fairly late, and there were only a handful of people on campus. So that was a blessing. And the fact that our beautiful outdoor commencement had been the weekend before. We've all talked about what a disaster it would have been if the setup for the commencement had been destroyed by the tornado. Then there was the devastation to just look at the campus that's so pristine and so beautiful, and it still is, but we're missing dozens of trees and shrubs, and we see that there's been damage that even 3 months now later has not yet been repaired. Having said all that, and as difficult as that was, and as much as it added to the workload of the people here, we knew we were so blessed because the devastation that happened in North St. Louis, just a few blocks, a few miles from the campus, was just awful. And people were out of their homes and they lost everything. And so it gave us an opportunity to very quickly try to respond to what some of those people's needs were. I'll never forget when we took a load of our window air conditioning units that we took out of various buildings on campus down to the St. Patrick's Center. And the gentleman who received those said, "This is the best donation we've gotten all year. People are desperate for something to cool themselves in this terrible heat wave that we've had all summer." We were able to donate food from our pantry and that had been in our refrigerator and freezer to people who really needed food and other items, household wares and hygienic supplies. And that made me feel proud, but sad too, that there was so much devastation and so much loss that now 3 months past has really still not been addressed for a lot of residents of St. Louis.
Took my love and I took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? I don't know. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, and I'm getting older too. So I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, children get older, I'm getting older too. I'm getting older too. So take this love, take it down. Oh, if you climb a mountain and you turn around, if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills where the landslide will bring it down, down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, maybe the land